So 19-year-old Jake writes into us this week, and he's writing because he's scared. Here's what he says. I just recently discovered I have trichotillomania, and I've had it for about 3 years. I only pulled until recently hair on my hands and wrist, and very occasionally I pulled from my eyebrows, but never enough to that it was noticeable. After finding out about Trich, I saw how most people pull out the hair on their scalp, and while I've never had the urge to do that, now I think about it so much that I'm almost forcing myself to do it to see if I like it, like other hair pulling. I'm scared I'm going to start consistently pulling from my scalp, and I was wondering if, since most Trich patients do pull their head hair, will that mean eventually I will end up pulling from my scalp in the future? I just want my hair pulling to stay at the moderate level it's at now, but after reading about Trich, I'm scared that one day I could end up ruining my hair. So yeah, Jake clearly has the one problem, his hair pulling, but to add to his torment, there's all this fear built up about this idea that because he's now sort of obsessing about the possibility of moving to pulling the hair on his scalp, does that mean he's probably going to end up doing exactly that? Well, that's a great question. What do you think the answer is? Stay tuned. I'll give you my take. So Jake is telling us he's been pulling the hair on his wrists and his hands for about the past 3 years, and now because he's discovered that people also pull from their scalp, now he's afraid he's going to start doing that. And the more he worries about that, the more he finds himself obsessing about it, and then the more he worries about it, and you can see where this is going, right? It's just an endless loop and entirely in the wrong direction. Bottom line is, Jake wrote to us, I think, to ask whether it's a foregone conclusion that his pulling must eventually escalate to his scalp as well. So here's the way this works, Jake. Good news, in a nutshell, on the face of it, no, there's nothing about pulling hair from one area of your body that makes you have to pull from some other part of your body now or later. And also, hair pulling from one part of your body doesn't always escalate to pulling from your scalp or anywhere else. And for what it's worth, no amount of worrying about it can make that happen, especially against your will. The truth, Jake, is that nothing and no one outside of you can ever make you pick your hand up and pull hair out of your head but you, okay? Those are the facts. Now, that said, I also need to caution you about this. All the worrying you're doing about it is not helping. Why is that? Well, the act of worrying about it, the act of habitual worry about anything, actually trains your brain, in a sense, what to look for and to gravitate to in your world. You see, whatever you allow yourself to think about or focus on habitually, you're asking your brain to please give you more of that. I'll give you a real-life example. Have you ever noticed that when something catches your attention, like a flashy new car or something like that, and you're really attracted to it, and you find yourself thinking about it a lot, right? And now, because you're focusing so much more attention on it, have you noticed that all of a sudden you're starting to see that car everywhere, right? You never noticed it before, but that's not necessarily because it wasn't there before. It's just that you hadn't trained your brain to make it important enough for you to notice it, okay? So there's actually an organ in your brain called the reticular activating system, whose job in part is to notice what's going on in your environment that's relevant to you and what it should therefore make you consciously aware of. This organ and this function is necessary because at any moment in time, there's a gazillion things going on in your environment, all kinds of sensory stimuli, that if you didn't have some way of filtering out what you need to pay attention to and what you can safely ignore, we'd all be in sensory overload all day long. Some of this activity, some of this filtering activity is automatic, but some of it you do program. You tell your RAS, your reticular activating system, what you want it to notice by way of your thoughts and what you spend time focusing on. Another way of saying this is, there's something called the law of attraction. You might have heard of it. Basically, that means we tend to attract into our lives more of what we spend time thinking about or focusing on. Unfortunately, worry turns out to be one really great way to attract more of the stuff we don't want into our lives. Okay, Jake, so now you know better. Now you know that whether or not worry makes you reach up and, for example, pull hair out of your scalp, it's definitely not helping. It's definitely not good for you. Chances are it's only going to get you more of what you don't want instead of what you might want instead. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to be able to notify you when we have new content, more helpful videos coming your way. And you know what? Go ahead and hit that reply button below and leave us a comment. Talk to us. How did this video impact you? If you're watching this video through our Facebook community page, please leave a comment there. We'd love to meet and chat with you. And in fact, if you have questions about trichotillomania or hair pulling in general, and you're just really not quite sure where to go for answers, please visit our website's questions and answers page at trichfree.com/qa.html. We do look through all the questions that come into us very carefully, just like the questions and comments that show up here at our YouTube channel, and we do our best to answer as many of those questions in these very videos as possible. And as always, please be sure to like and subscribe here, okay? We're here to entertain, inform, and most importantly, to empower you to begin taking control of your hair pulling in ways you probably never thought possible before. If you'd like to reach out to us directly to get some information about how we can help you or a loved one, feel free to visit our website at www.trich-free.com or to call us at any time of day or night toll-free at 833-TRICH-FREE. Thanks again for watching. I'm Robert Mantell with the Trichotillomania Relief Specialists in Southern California. Here's wishing you an amazing trick-free week.